What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're doing something a little different. Instead of finding stories myself, I'm going to be reading Reddit stories that you guys sent in. Some of these are funny, some are wild, and some honestly make me question humanity a little bit. Also, we're back in the Minecraft world. I've been making some progress since the last video, and hopefully I don't die while trying to build whatever random project I decide to start today. If you have any suggestions for things I should build in this world, let me know down in the comments. I'm always looking for new ideas, because eventually I'm going to run out of things to build and start placing random blocks everywhere. And if you have any stories, confessions, AITA posts, relationship drama, creepy encounters, or anything else you'd like me to read in a future video, feel free to send them to the email below. Who knows, your story might end up in the next video. But enough talking from me. Grab a snack, sit back, relax, and let's get into some Reddit stories. Am I the jerk for refusing to pay for my date's meal? I recently matched with a woman on Facebook Dating. After messaging for a few days, we decided to meet up for dinner. At first, she seemed nice enough. She was polite, well-spoken, and seemed to have her life together. But as the conversation went on, I started realizing we probably weren't compatible. She talked a lot about the type of man she was looking for and her expectations in a relationship. One thing that stood out was that she told me she had been celibate for the past 3 years and planned to wait until marriage before having sex again. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I knew almost immediately that we were looking for different things. Within the first 10 minutes, I was already certain there wouldn't be a second date. Still, I stayed, finished dinner, and tried to be respectful. When the check came, I asked the waiter for separate checks. The woman immediately rolled her eyes. She looked at me and said, "Aren't you the one who asked me out?" I told her that I was. She stared at me for a moment and didn't say anything. When the waiter returned with separate checks, she asked again if I was seriously not going to pay for her meal. I told her I'd pay for my food and she could pay for hers. I wished her well, told her it was nice meeting her, and left. Now some of my friends think I was rude. They say that since I invited her out, I should have paid regardless of whether I wanted a second date. Others think splitting the bill was perfectly reasonable since neither of us owed the other anything. So, am I the jerk? Okay, this one is way less depressing, and honestly, I don't think the guy is the jerk. Now, personally, if I ask somebody out, I'm probably paying for dinner. That's just how I was raised, but that's me. The important thing is that paying for someone's meal is a nice gesture. It's not an obligation. There's a difference. The way I see it, there are kind of 3 outcomes. You can pay for everything. You can split the bill, or you can disappear out the bathroom window like you're in some kind of cartoon. And compared to those options, splitting the bill seems pretty reasonable, especially when both people already know there isn't going to be a second date. I think what really bothered her wasn't the money. I think it was what the separate checks represented. And the moment he asked for separate checks, he basically communicated that he wasn't interested. And that probably stung a little. But honestly, that's dating. Sometimes you click, sometimes you don't. Am I the jerk for making a joke about my miscarriage? Last month, my husband and I lost a pregnancy. It was an early miscarriage, but it was still incredibly painful for both of us. We had been trying for a baby and were excited when we found out I was pregnant. When I first went to the hospital, the doctors told me everything was probably fine, but deep down, I knew something wasn't right. A few days later, my fears were confirmed. I was devastated. For about a week, I completely fell apart emotionally. Eventually, though, I had to pull myself together because I already have a child who depends on me. I've always handled difficult situations with humor. Growing up, I learned that if I didn't laugh, I would cry. My husband and I usually have a pretty dark sense of humor, so one evening after he came home from work, I made a joke about the situation. I thought it would lighten the mood. Instead, he got upset. The moment the words left my mouth, I realized the joke probably wasn't going to land. He told me that it was our baby and that the situation wasn't funny. I immediately stopped joking because I didn't want to disrespect his grief. Now I feel terrible. I wasn't trying to make light of what happened. I was just coping the only way I knew how. Later, I talked to him again, and he admitted he wasn't actually angry. He was mostly surprised by the joke and said he simply wasn't expecting it. Things between us are okay now, but I still can't stop wondering if I crossed a line. Am I the jerk for trying to use humor to cope with something so painful? This one is tough. Mostly because grief is weird, everybody handles it differently. Some people cry, some people get quiet, some people try to distract themselves, and some people make jokes. I actually relate to that last one a lot. Not because I think tragic situations are funny, but because humor is sometimes the only thing keeping you from completely breaking down. I think a lot of people do that. You laugh because if you don't laugh, you're probably going to cry. And honestly, it sounds like that's exactly what happened here. She wasn't making fun of the miscarriage, she was trying to survive it. That's a big difference. And based on the update, it sounds like her husband understood that too. I think sometimes when you're grieving, there's no perfect way to act. You're just trying your best to get through the day. And if that means making a joke that doesn't land, then honestly, that's okay. At least they talked about it afterward. And thankfully, this is one of the rare Reddit stories where nobody seems like a terrible person. It's just two people trying to process something incredibly painful. Am I the jerk for refusing to attend my sister's wedding? I, 24M, have an older sister, 29F, who is getting married next month. Growing up, she was always the favorite child. My parents paid for her college. They bought her a car. Meanwhile, I had to work part-time throughout high school just to afford basic things. I never complained because I figured life wasn't always fair. A few months ago, my sister asked me to be a groomsman in her wedding. I accepted because despite everything, she's still my sister. Last week, I found out something that changed everything. My parents are paying for her entire wedding, over $40,000. At the same time, they told me they couldn't help with my student loans because they were struggling financially. I confronted them about it. My dad told me, "Your sister's wedding is more important right now." I was furious. I told them I wouldn't be attending the wedding. Now my entire family is calling me selfish and saying I'm making her special day about me. My sister says I'm punishing her for something she didn't do. My mom cried and begged me to reconsider. Am I the jerk? As for whether he's the jerk or not, honestly, I don't think he is. And I think a lot of people hear wedding and immediately assume you're supposed to do whatever the bride and groom want no matter what. But that's not really how life works. If somebody feels disrespected, treated unfairly, or like their boundaries aren't being respected, they're allowed to say no. Now, if he skipped the wedding just because he was being petty or wanted attention, then yeah, I'd probably say he's the jerk. But if there's actual history there, if he's been treated differently, ignored, or expected to just suck it up for the sake of keeping the peace, then I can understand why he'd finally put his foot down. I think a lot of people confuse setting boundaries with being selfish. They're not the same thing. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is say, "No, I'm not okay with this." Will people get upset? Probably. Will they call you selfish? Maybe. But that doesn't automatically make you wrong. At the end of the day, a wedding invitation is still an invitation. It's not a summons. You don't have to show up if you genuinely feel like you're being disrespected. So, personally, no, I don't think he's the jerk. I think he's somebody who finally got tired of being treated a certain way and decided not to pretend everything was fine for one day just because there was a wedding involved. But that's just my take. Let me know what you guys think because I know wedding stories always split people right down the middle. And with that, I think that's where we're going to end today's video. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you for listening. Seriously, I appreciate every single one of you who spends part of your day hanging out with me, watching Minecraft, and listening to these stories. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like. It really helps out the channel more than you might think. And if one of these stories reminded you of a friend or family member, feel free to share the video with them too. And if you have any ideas for what I should build in this Minecraft world, let me know in the comments because I'm running out of excuses to keep wandering around placing random blocks. But yeah, that's all for me for today. Take care of yourselves, be kind to one another, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, bye everyone.